spot, as people here know. And I was afraid that my orchid was going to die, and I probably had killed every plant that I ever had unintentionally because I traveled so much. And Rob took it upon himself. I never asked him to water that orchid for me. And it bloomed this year with 5 beautiful blooms. I'd never seen it like that. And I've taken it home because I want to remember and I want to make sure that I don't leave it because he took such good care of it. He was a really, truly remarkable person. I really enjoyed hearing from you that he enjoyed working here as much as he did. And it's an unusual place currently. People come here, and I think many of us feel this way. It's an unusual place to work, and we really enjoy having him as part of the current family. So I know Steve wants to say a few words. If any of you have things that you'd like to remember about Rob or like to share with people, please come forward and feel free to share that with us. And thank you all for being here. Remembering Rob, and we'll have this tree now.
Can you hear me, David? Okay. Don't know, they've known as a loud one forever. Rob and I grew up in the same neighborhood, a couple blocks from each other. And we were great friends growing up, had a lot of great fights, had a lot of great fun. I hired him about 13 years ago to do some work at my house. And I hadn't been seeing a lot of him recently, but he came up and did such an incredible job that when we had to remove the giant camera from the basement, I hired him temporarily to come and do that job, and he was incredible. And I hired him full time. As most people know, you don't hire your friends, it's a problem. But not with Rob. It never was a problem. His dedication to his job was incredible. Besides being the janitor, he was the man that Greg went to haul everything around. Two stories. One is that concerns his daughter right there. Back on Mount Wilson in 1981, I was a night assistant on a 100-inch dome, and they came up to visit. And we managed to drop you on your head from the second floor of the, I lived in the bunkhouse with a 100-inch. She fell on her head, but obviously no problem.
Those stairs were padded pretty well.
But I remember Rob being so impressed that I had landed this job where I was operating telescopes and working in the mountains. And I knew then he would love to have been here. And I don't think he loved anything more than working here. But as a testament to the man he was, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, I had extreme back problems and had back surgery, had titanium put in my back. For a month, Rob drove over an hour out of his way to drive home to bring us lunch every day from from this incredible group of people we work from. So for a month, somebody brought dinner because my wife wasn't even capable of doing it. He drove out of his way to do that. And I know he touched many of your lives in many ways, not just Wendy's plants, but little things he do for you. So I don't have a lot more to say that I miss my friend and I miss my colleague, and he was a great asset, and I think all of you know how much he cared and never gave up to his 100% best. And I'd love if anybody else has anything to share, or little anecdotes you shared with me, or if the family feels like saying something. This little tree, now we had a lot of problems with people on the tree. They wanted to have pits. But I'm sure we had to go with what Greg and I decided would be the prettiest plant here. Now, Greg laid this all out last week with the pattern, and it would grow here to fit this spot where we needed the tree.
Beautiful.
Very appropriate, and doing his job just like Rob would.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything to say, you're certainly welcome to come forward, and if not, I certainly understand. But,
I can say something.
Scott Rebel.
Yeah, I just wrote a couple things this morning when I came in. I still appreciate Rob. He was never daunted by buildings and grounds problems. They were always solved with his unique ingenuity. If we had missed the morning news, he would greet us with his own account of the headlines. If we were wrapped up in our own thoughts, he'd tap us on the shoulder or sometimes shake us and tell a story or a joke. He kept us supplied with his own angle on our assumptions and bootleg conspiracy radio shows and documentaries. That kept us on our toes. And he made our jobs easier and fun. He's missed.
Thank
you.
Beautiful, Scott. Thank you.
Rob.
It's
so
okay.
Like super, so Rob was fantastic. He was such a nice guy, and I remember when I was first year as a postdoc, you know, I worked really late and really early, you know, working all the time, and I had some CDs that I had left out, and I like blues music, and I had left a few CDs out, and Rob one day came to, you know, came in the morning, and he was like, oh, you know, I noticed that you have some Howling Wolf CDs, and he's like, you might want to look at, you know, some, you know, Big Bill Broomsey, and some, he gave me all these suggestions for some wonderful music, and so whenever I hear those songs, I always think of Rob. He was, yeah, he is missed.
Thank you, Jim.